not them. They don't see. I asked someone one question. Once you ask me any difficulty, I ask you first, how far can you see? Those people there, they don't see far. They don't see beyond what's with him, and then so move forward. I told someone one day, I think mistakenly, they took lights, a power, they call it power in Nigeria. You say, let me tell you Australian terms. If you say light, in Nigeria, they call them light here now power. Because I'm with you, I'm talking light. Because if I'm taking making joke there, I start using their terms, power, they will not know. But if you tell Australian man light, he don't know to be light too. Because now, hey, light, up there, but here they say power. I think mistakenly they took power in Nala, mistakenly where I stay. And yes, so we took power out in Nala one day, just like, I think, at night, I think the storm was strong, seriously, and they took power that day. And then, do you know what happened? I was shocked. The government came to give us $1,000 because of things we bought in the fridge. I'm not a citizen, I was shocked. Why? But Nigeria, honestly, I asked I said, you know Nigeria, I'll take my house. We don't buy everything just because mistake they took it. Storm, not because it's a normal storm, a normal natural disaster now. It happened to read the power too. I will show you that they said $1,000. Why? Me and my family, because of why? They said we kept things inside the room, and that cost us power outage that day. So things might have. But we know how to collect that before now. I bring that come. We know now. We know. Why is this street our rights now? Yeah, you know our rights. Yeah, we know the law was and our right work for us. And yes, I took it very well. I was shocked. The other day, somebody, they were stopped. Now when the storm season, the rain was falling everywhere, flood. We see this thing happen. Now, like you see people hold their shoe and trousers walking past. Those big men builders forget the pattern to make those units pack out and use those things to recycle them for other things they don't know. But yeah, you see, I was shocked. The students like, the rain, what is rain? They don't want to pass the flood. The next stop road, they made other access for them to pass, and they pass good roads. And they see that. You see, even the business way should be to pass now. Modernizing the road. Under how many days? New roads. These things we can do in our country. And so we support our own. It's not easy. Before, I know our power was in my house, don't worry. That time mom would call. Everybody, once they flash the light, they don't bring it, they flash. We won't pay for estimated B. Let me show you. We pay on hand. Once they come, you're supposed to have like take B. They start out. They don't have to, but you must pay. And as they bring the light, mom, you don't iron my dress. Come iron. Monday close, Tuesday close, because we don't know when the light will come again. So iron close from Monday to Saturday. So the man should be from iron the small kids zone. So that is how we'll be utilizing power. If you talk of education, we are the best in education. But when we come here, we do good. There's two different things. I told someone, we don't stress ourselves in reading here. We don't stress ourselves. Here we study, in Nigeria we read. Because of the age modern they use and the way the lecturers have suffered. You see a lecturer will come and say, read everything, so that you read the author back of the book. What do you have with the author life? You want to read the lecturer will come read the author, write story about my name. But yeah, the main key point they give to you, read, go to practical and go outfield and work with your colleague, do your group assignment. But they just want to stress you, to fail you, to come again and fail. Because why? They know how the government is doing it, so they want to follow the government pattern. And so we need people who will come in, who have passed through the education sector from outside everywhere to change most of these things we see. You know what I'm saying? You are getting me. So if not, I'm telling someone, my next portion, I'm here not because I love, every day I tell boys we're around, we're playing games, we'll go for events, oh boy, yeah, what are you also? It's not that, what is here? Tell me the truth, what is here? Tell me, no, let's be sincere to ourselves. What is here? No, I know something said, but, Taiwo, let me you. Okay, I'm off here. What is here? Let me tell you, what is here that we can't make it? That's what I'm asking. And what is here that can't be done at home? That I should ask. We have a pronunciamento. Oh, sorry, forgive me. That can be done. Help me, God. My linguistic I fail well better. That can be done better. I fail, don't worry. What is here? I still write exam. I get 12. Sorry, don't feel bad for Nigeria. This man too is tired for Nigeria. He fell out for collaboration. He said he's sick and tired. You too, don't feel bad. A change is coming. So we should all support him. If you give me your thought, I will talk to you next week. We should all support him. In any way, we have people back home. If you have question contribution, tell him not to criticize him. It's not easy for someone to come and say, I want to fight with these people. These people, no matter how you talk, they are thinking but they know themselves now. Are you deceiving me? I know people, if I'm Australian, if I want to eat, I know the house people are coming to your house. Ibori are coming, come open my door. I know, so they know themselves. There's no, if you like, that's how the other one came. He carry pastor come. Oh, the pastor is good. We like him. Let's follow him. Now you're carried Obi. We know Obi has record. But can you talk when the other one said no? They will start having VP and this thing clash. That is the truth. And then you start fighting battles. So we should all know the truth and know how to support our own. No matter how, it's not a matter of tribalism, whether you're in Joe Rivers, Calabari, outside Yoruba. No, it's a matter of Nigeria. Let's stand for Nigeria. I love Nigeria, and so you do. Do you love your country, please? Yeah, you should have to love your country. There's no place like home. No matter, no matter how you think you fly, you're a chicken among the birds. I've met many Nigerians who are citizens born here. No matter how you think you fly, the fowls, you're a chicken fowl among the birds, or eagles who fly. The one they are in your country, they are eagles, they fly higher. So when you fly, there's a ditch you reach and you come down because it's not your land. So no matter how you pretend and speak, hey, yeah, hello, how are you? I can't. What are you doing? In my front? Don't do that. I'm a Nigerian, speak what I know. That's what I tell them. So please, we will start getting contribution for you, or if you want to choose yourself, tell yourself, giving contributions, say questions. He's ready. He's actually, yeah, I see his eyes. I don't know if he has slept, sir. Yeah, I'm always ready. Some people say, many of my friends, I told them, some people say he's not fit. He don't know, he has something like experience. It's not that he has the experience full by himself. Hurricane Sowore. Hurricane. The other man, I saw a minister, I think, what's his name? That also have NYSC. I don't know, that minister. I think information, I think Sowore communication. I've forgotten his name. Communication. That communication. Oh, she too. She too, but she don't know that doesn't have NYSC. Still asking question too. Consequential. That was the grammar he brought. So he has been labeled many names. But truth is, where they push more names, that is where the victory will come. Yeah. We should not doubt, don't see. The more we talk about it, the more we project on our Snap, on our Facebook, Instagram, tell people, that is how they will tell others. They will know, this thing is serious. So those people there, they have the hurricane of money, of which they've eaten my own generation, my money, my 3-4 generation. That's what they've eaten. That's the truth. That's what we're suffering, nothing else. Those people who die in Libya, they are your people. You might know one of them. If you don't know them, if you can't 6-step generation, they link to someone here in this room. If I'm lying, I don't know, but I'm saying it's true. Yeah, you're right. Yes, and the more we take speedy shape, the more we'll call. If we don't take shape now, that's the truth. I won't lie to you. If we don't take action, if we don't take excuse and say let's correct this wrong that has been done, more catastrophe will happen in that country. More. The killing, the fighting, we can do it. I was telling someone, why do they allow arms around everyone? I can walk around 9, 10, morning and night, drive in this country. Nobody will harass me with gun or anything. Because I'm one thing you like about security, I won't lie to you. I can't go to worry. I know one of my friends contesting on ACM, Mr. Jollof. If you know him on Instagram, I was talking to him. They had two boys who were my friends to contesting on this platform. I said, give them problem, support them, disturb the government here. All of them, they are all themselves. They don't want to leave the corridor of power. It's just for themselves and their kids. That is all. Bewitched it. I wish he was the son of one of them. You will see, they won't ask, nobody will ask questions. They will say, oh, you're pushing, let him go. So you will give us small bread from up to eat. You understand? So everyone wants to complain the government is bad. But these same people that complain the government is bad will still go back and go and vote someone who has affiliation with that same bad government. If opposition government was part of corruption, they don't see a reason why any of his ministers or anybody should come back and contest. Oh, I'm talking. Okay. No verse, no verse. You need to not enter. Oh, sorry, breaking transmission.
Breaking transmission.
AC.
Take it back.
So there's no way we will say that same thing. No worry, say I'm okay, say I'm in order. But I think his spirit, I'm GGing him to say he's hot, he wants to spit now. Ayobi, you don't come. When I won't come. I said, they tell me about I won't come, I won't come. I believe you, my people are here. I believe everyone. Many people have sent me messages, I say, come, even transport come, I'll carry you. Because the situation is bad, but I'm happy you're here. They will all want to still go back and go and call these people. That's my pain. We know, you know it. So please tell your people there, talk to him. He's ready. He said as I'm speaking now, he wants to speak more on what I'm saying. I will get some videos tape for you. You see most things he has done. Video tapes are there for you to watch. And everything. I think, I don't know if I'm the right person to hand over to him. I don't know, because the person who they say I should bring up to stage is someone, I think I started reading his profile. When I think I watched Sarah reporters, I think I watched group, I don't know more about him personally. But when I watched Charlie Boy, the first riot they went in Abuja, that Charlie Boy was tear gas, and that was I said, who is this man? And who are these people that have this strength to do this thing in this regime? And when I checked out Charlie Boy's tear gas the former time, the first tear gas, that's when I started seeing his profile. Like, let me see Google, and I started seeing, okay, I started seeing most of his things. So please, I can't say much. They want to help me and put things about this. Put us together, please. Everyone come standing as a big welcome. Sowore, please. Celebrating for me. Please celebrate this man. See what he has done. Please look up his projector. This man has been in the struggle for 20 years. He has tried to put himself, make a mark. If it was, I wish he was an elite son, he would be part of our history books, which will be reading. Part of those who fought Babangida, those men who they say they cannot. As a young 17-year-old boy, you know what it is to be a 17-year-old boy. It's not easy. Please celebrate what he has been doing. And the more to come, he's saying he's a true Democrat, a true Nigerian who believes in you and me. He believes in everyone who has seen it all. There is no stain. No matter how they say he publishes wrong things or what, there is no stain to him. No matter how they say. Let's put your hands together for that as you watch this profile there, you see. So you all know what is happening. It's not that this is someone who is not ready for it. It's someone who has been sitting keenly watching the job and is ready to take this steadyship of state with us. So he's ready. He has seen everything. He has walked around the globe. If he's not ready, he won't be traveling around soliciting your help. The rest people don't want you. If they enter office, they won't think of the 17, 18, 19, 20 in office. They will look for a 98 years old man to come ahead you. And those people are one generation. Not that we're insulting them, no. They don't have something to offer. They can't see far. As a young boy, iPhone 10 or iPhone 12 can see. They are seeing iPhone 1. Why would they model one of technology? They're celebrating for me. So can we, sister, we want you to come up on stage and give us some hip hop, please. Put your hands together for him. Celebrate him once more, please. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Back. AAC, take it back. AAC, take it back. Take it back. Action. Thank you so much. I cannot do without thanking the organizers of this event. I never thought it would be possible to get to this place by today. And by the way, this is the longest trip I've ever taken in my life. Welcome to Australia. Considering that I studied geography, it's the first time that I've been in practical geography for my entire life. It took me, I started traveling here since Monday night from Nigeria, and I didn't get here until Wednesday morning. And when I called back home, they said it's still Tuesday in Nigeria. So you know the world is huge. I have to thank you for making this possible for us to come, share our ideas, interact and engage regarding the most important topic on the continent of Africa today, which is Nigeria. And I have said it several times that you know, the biggest challenge I face as a Nigerian abroad, having lived abroad for 19 years, is the challenge from other Africans. Africans who stopped me on the road and said, what is wrong with you people in Nigeria? As if their own destiny and future relies on Nigeria getting it right. You know, I met South Africans who naturally you think are doing better than us, who are saying they are hanging on to you know, our trousers and say, please get it right in Nigeria so that we can be proud to be Africans. I've met Ethiopians, Eritreans, I've met Egyptians, you know, Moroccans, Angolans, I've met Ghanaians, I've met Senegalese people all over. Everybody is saying the same thing. that we want Nigeria to get it right. We want Nigeria to be the place of pride, so that as Africans, we can be proud of our continent of Africa. So I'm happy to announce to you that we are on the verge of doing that. We are on the verge of taking Nigeria from oblivion into a glorious nation come next year. And that is the reason I decided that I will make this trip no matter how long it will take. In a few days, thank you. In a few days, our election campaigning will start. Specifically on November 18 is when officially we can commence having rallies to declare our intention to become the president of Nigeria. And we have officially, as a new political party, submitted our nomination to INEC. So officially, I'm a candidate of the African Action Congress of Nigeria. And when we're looking at the ballot papers that is coming out, it looks like if we are not number one, we will not be far from number one.
Yes.
So it'll be easy for a lot of people who are looking for the logo, which is the two hands logo, to vote for the right candidate come next year. As you're also aware, today our opponents are sick again. I heard Atiku, who is the presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party, what we call people deceiving people in Nigeria, is sick and is already in Dubai. You know, the grandfather, our ancestor, President Buhari, will also soon be going back to London. So no country in the world should be cursed with this kind of politicians. I have nothing against old people, and I say this all the time, because there are a lot of responsible old people in Nigeria, including my grandmother, who is 95 years old. But our problem is with the age of the ideas. We have obsolete ideas, obsolete thinkers, analog thinkers, running a digital society. It should not happen to a country where 70% of Nigerians are below the age of 30. But the people who are governing Nigeria are older than the Nigerian nation. Nigeria is 58 years old, Buhari is about 80 years old. And we are also happy to inform you that we just nominated our vice presidential candidate, who is a public health professional. Would have loved to come with us on this trip. He's from Jigawa in Nigeria, and he's also very, very competent. 42 years old man. And if you combine the age of the presidential candidate of our party and the vice presidential candidate, between the two of us, we are both like 91 years old. The president is likely to be around 91 years old, because each time Buhari goes to London, he discovers that his age is older than what he filled out in INEC. I'm not making this up. This is Nigeria. So we're going to make it very, very flexible tonight. I've flown and traveled several miles to get here. I don't want to complicate the conversation by talking over you. I want to talk to you, and I want us to talk to each other. You mostly know what is wrong with Nigeria, so I don't need to repeat it. The reason why you are here is the reason why Nigeria is the way it is. And I understand, having lived abroad for 19 years, that if there's anything Nigerians who are living abroad want to do is to buy a ticket and return home. Yes. And no matter how beautiful where we live is, we always want to go back home. It's everywhere you meet two Nigerians having a conversation. You know, they are discussing about Nigeria. There's no question about it. They might be living in paradise. They'd love to go back to or be connected with home. Every time you wake up here, if it's not Nigerian time, you have not woken up. When I've lived in the US for 19 years, I wake up at 2 a.m. in the morning, which is their 8 a.m. or 9 a.m. And you know how it is at home. They'll call you, and if you pick up your phone and say you are sleeping, say, well, if you are sleeping, why do you pick up the phone? They challenge you. Nigerians don't waste time. Because when they are calling you, there's a reason for calling you. And they don't call you frivolously. If you get a frivolous call, it's a precursor to the real call. You know, I joke about it all the time. You know, with WhatsApp, with first sending you they'll be praying for you or all kinds of things. And they greet for everything in Nigeria. Happy month ending, happy beginning of the end month, good morning, good evening. They greet you for everything. And if you are not getting the message, then you start getting proverbs. And, that if you are climbing up, don't forget the people that were there when you are climbing up. So that when you are coming down, you beat them there. But I always tell people who say me that, they say, you don't have to be there where people are climbing up. Let all climb up together. Yes. And then we can destroy the ladder and stay at the top. There is no reason having the bottom overcrowded all the time. And I'm saying this because it is the way our leaders have done and destroyed Nigeria. They've kept a lot of people purposely and intentionally at the bottom so that they can continue to run Nigeria in a manner that makes it possible for them to get whatever they want whenever they want it. So you imagine there is a policy of impoverization of Nigerians, make you poor. There's a policy of the education of Nigerians, make you ignorant, so that you will never understand how to fight the system. So that whenever they bring 5 naira or 5,000 naira, you will fall for it. And people have to start asking themselves, how does someone who was there in 1980 or a board member of a company come back to Nigeria in 2015, given another opportunity, did nothing. I mean, it's 3 years, we are going to the next few months, it will be 4 years. Buhari has been in office. Did absolutely nothing. In fact, if Buhari did anything in office at all, he's sending his children to school in London and sending himself to hospital in London. That's the only thing that I can count as his achievement. His health improved. While those of Nigerians' life and that of his family improved. While those of Nigerians deteriorated completely. The education system in the country was destroyed while those of his children got better. His wife got richer. At one point, they had to arrest a guy who was in possession of 2.5 billion naira as one of her assistants. While those of Nigerians, deteriorated. Nigeria became the poverty capital of the world under Buhari, when he became one of probably the richest people on earth as president of Nigeria. This is the story of Nigeria that has repeated itself year in, year out. And again, we're about to repeat history. Or maybe history is about to repeat itself on us, as if we are cursed, by bringing 2 people who have been part of the systematic destruction of Nigeria's life over the years to come back and ruin Nigeria the more. People, you probably have heard it or seen it on Facebook. When we came out, they started challenging our experience. They asked me, what's your experience? And one of them, because they don't teach history in Nigeria, I had to remind him last week. I said, in 1992, Atiku was a presidential aspirant for the Social Democratic Party, 1992. Why didn't you ask him then what was his experience? In 1992, Atiku was about 42 years old. In 2018, I'm 47 years old. In 1992, Atiku did not have a degree. In 2018, I have a master's degree in public administration. In 1992, Atiku had never traveled abroad, perhaps to as many countries that I have been. In 2018, I've probably been to about 30 countries. And you are asking me if I have experience. In 1992, Atiku had never been known to do anything for Nigeria, including even till now. In 1993, I was already fighting for democracy, standing behind Abiola, who won the election that Atiku lost in 1992. And you're asking me about my experience. The only experience, of course, that I don't have is that I have not been part of the people who rob in Nigeria. I have not been part of the gang that is assassinating. That conversation now, luckily, is petering out. Why are people having this kind of conversation? Because they don't teach history in our curriculum. It has been expunged from our curriculum. If they taught history, we would have known the criminals amongst us. If you walk into Australia today and you send your children to school, they will tell them they are heroes and they are villains. Right? In Nigeria, our villains are taught to us as our heroes because they don't teach them in school. We see the way they become heroes by dashing money to our people. And they don't dash us their own money. They are dashing us the money that they stole from us over the years. Atiku just bought the presidential candidacy of the PDP with $5,000 handed over to delegates, over 3,000 delegates from across the country. Nobody can deny it. He's not even denying it. In fact, one of them came on TV and said, well, what do you expect of this is how we do our politics. That was pocket money. Now you're asking them if that is pocket money, then which other money is there that is available left for the people? When you dash yourself $5,000. An average delegate came back from the PDP convention with 5 million naira. Right? Each. That is what they did from just one man. And you are asking Atiku, what has Atiku innovated in his life? Where is it that he invented a computer? Where is his farm? That where he's growing cocoa that made him to make money? Nothing. He was a custom officer who stole so successfully that he made it to the top. He has been vice president of Nigeria twice. Eight years under former president Olusegun Obasanjo. They did nothing for Nigeria. In fact, when they were in office, universities were closed because lecturers, professors went on strike. And what they did, they let the strike linger for so long while they awarded themselves licenses to build universities. Today, Atiku has one of the best private universities in Nigeria. It's called the American, is it? American British? Turkish. No, they call it ABTI. I don't want to know the name of these universities. I'm too angry to figure out their full names. And I'm not sending my children there anyway. And Obasanjo set up his own Bells University. Yes, in Ota. From money stolen from Nigeria. And our private universities are languishing in poverty. The University of Lagos, where I graduated from, I went back there, I couldn't recognize the university. We went to Obafemi Awolowo University in Ile-Ife, and you cannot raise pigs in the hostels where the students are living. I'm serious, you can't raise pigs there. If they call it a piggery, you will sue the person who owns the piggery. You will never buy pigs from there. That is where our university students are supposed to graduate from. In 2018, they are not fit for chickens to live in. And our leaders don't care. But most importantly, a lot of young people, well, I won't say a lot, but some young people are also following them. Yeah. They're asking that they want to be articulated. And I said to them, if you articulated for the next 4 years, your life will be deactivated completely. That is what is going to happen to you. You will not recognize Nigeria because Atiku will put Nigeria on eBay or Alibaba and sell it. That's the truth. Because these guys, I say categorically, I'm not saying it outside of, I say it in front of them in Nigeria, that these guys are thieves. And they have not done their worst yet. Wait until they have nothing at stake. Wait until Buhari comes back next year, you will recognize the real Buhari. He will destroy whatever is left of Nigeria. He will destroy whatever is left of your farms, whatever is left of your schools, whatever is even left of your faith. He will ruin it. For those of you who are crazy about religion, you will not be able to practice it anymore. And everybody is suddenly realizing. But again, you know our people, you push them to the wall, instead of pushing back, they will start drilling holes in the wall to get further into the wall, into the concrete. They're saying to us, oh, the time is too short. I say, if you have a chance to be free in 2 days, would you say it's too short? You have 3 months or more, we still have 4 months to get rid of these people. And some people said, well, it's not the zone of your part of the world, and I said, does hunger, starvation, diseases understand where you come from? Where? When hunger wants to catch you, does it understand, does it want to know whether you are Yoruba or Igbo or Hausa? Or when a road accident is about to claim an entire generation of people, does it understand where you come from? Today, before I arrived here, some of our members in the Delta State, in Agbaro, were driving in a private car, and the car, because the bridges don't have railings, guard railings on them, plunged into the river. 2 of them survived. We haven't found 3 of them as we speak now. We don't know whether they are dead or alive. And this situation has been there for a long time in Delta State, where a governor who spent 13 years in jail, Ibori, not your Ibori. His name is James Onanefe Ibori. He stole so much money from there that at the time he had a Bentley that he bought and parked in a private apartment, a private house in London that he had never driven before. Whereas just that, with 500,000 naira, 500 million, seriously, they can put guardrails on those bridges. 500,000 naira. So let's assume that it's not 5, let's say 5 million naira. That is not enough for them to do a party at night in one of their lodges in Abuja. So we know all these things, and we have presented blueprints for how we can change the objective situation of Nigeria. Yes. We are the first political movement in Nigeria, that is the Take It Back movement, to have a manifesto before we even became a political party. Yes. Our political party is less than 2 months old, maybe 2 months old now. Yeah. And it became the 3rd most popular political party in Nigeria within 2 months. The PDP has been around for close to 19 years. The APC has been around for 4 years. They cannot boast of the kind of grassroots support we have. They claim that they have structures. We traveled around the country. We can't find any structures that they have. None. The only structure they have are all these, retail outlets for corruption and manipulation of the process. So they will have an APC strongman at a parking lot in Benin, or garage as they call it, with guns, and when it's time for election, they bring them out, force everybody, they bribe who they can bribe, kill who they can kill. They win the election after taking away the ballot paper, rigging the election. And I said to people, if APC were to have structures, do they need to bribe people during the election in the Ekiti State? Do they need to do what they did in Osun State? It tells you that they don't have any structures anywhere. But as we speak today, we have structures activated in all the 774 local governments in Nigeria. People are there working for us. If you go on Facebook today, there is no political party who can compete with us on Facebook, because people are conscious and aware. And at the time they started calling us Facebook political party, they claim that I'm a Facebook presidential aspirant. But when we started going all over Nigeria, as you saw, in fact, some of the pictures I was shown to you in the slideshow you just watched, I'd never seen them before. We went from Lagos all the way to Jalingo in Taraba State. On our way back, I met, as you see, a herdsman. We went into villages and went everywhere. And people, I can tell you, Nigeria is vastly ungoverned territory. There's no government in almost 90% of Nigeria. Government is only situated in capital cities, Abuja, Lagos. But what they even call government in Nigeria cannot serve as a local government here in Australia. Yes. The city, the state of Queensland, I was told today, is bigger than the country of Nigeria. Yes. And you can imagine the infrastructure. When we were coming from the airport, I was filming. I think we filmed for almost 40 minutes. We were filming the roads, and we went to my sister's hospital, and somebody said, "Why, my God, see hospital," and it was that, I was telling them, it sounded like I just said, if you are getting to this hospital, before you even arrive at the hospital, you start feeling well, because you know that your salvation lies behind the emergency door. But in Nigeria, when you arrive at the hospital, you know that you are in trouble. It's what it is. That places can be governed and governed right. Yes. Today, right, I think it was Egypt that just launched or commissioned I think it's about 17,000 megawatts of electricity. And it was built within 2.5 years. Yesterday, or day before yesterday, China commissioned one of the longest bridges in the world between Hong Kong and mainland China. for about $7 billion, I think they built it for, right? It didn't take that long. A lot of countries are commissioning projects, wondrous projects, right? But in Nigeria, we do not have 30 kilometers of highway that you can travel on that will take you to your destination, right? And we are today $80 billion in debt, and we have nothing to show for it. If you have been on Facebook probably recently, you would have seen an infographic on the Prime Minister of India, Modi, what he has done in the last 4 years. And he tried so much that they said when he came, there are about thousands of villages without electricity. Today there's zero village, or there's no village without electricity in India, as of today. And he did it in the last 4 years. So I'm asking you, Nigerians, as you're watching me all over, we just did 4 years. If I cannot deliver on 24,000 megawatts of electricity in 4 years, I'm going to resign before I even complete my tenure. Yes, if I cannot complete the highway from Lagos to Ibadan, which has been under construction for 20 years, in less than 2 years, I'm going to resign. If I cannot finish the Lagos or Benin Expressway, which has been under refurbishment for the last 30 years, I'm going to resign if I cannot do it in 2 years. If I cannot provide you clear direction of a high-speed train from Lagos to Calabar in 4 years, I'm going to resign. Because these are possibilities that are very easy to accomplish in less than 4 years, likely because of technology. But in Nigeria, there is nothing that is started that has ever been completed. Right? It's the reason why our successive governments are always projecting beyond the tenure of the person in power. Somebody whose tenure is going to end in 2019, we have a vision 2030 for Nigeria. What is your business with a vision that is beyond your own vision? Right? When you cannot see beyond your nose, why are you projecting beyond? Why are you projecting towards 2020 when you cannot do even complete road in 2019? Why don't you stick within your own lane, as we say in Nigeria, stay in your lane? But the thing is that we don't even have visionaries as leaders. For someone to have vision, you must be a visionary person. And vision must be met with action for a country to make progress. It is the reason why you are happy to be here and you love it, because some of you in another year or so will be buying driverless cars. And it's not that you are driving your car will be driving you to your destination. So many of you, perhaps now, even have cars that no longer use petrol. Electric cars. So we are still there trying to struggle to refine petrol. Crude oil, we still export, is refined, we buy back in Nigeria. The place is broken completely. I am coming from Nigeria. Sadly, it's a broken country. And the people of Nigeria are broke. And also they are broken-hearted. Not because of their own faults, but because, likely, also because of their own complacency. Our people, we must admit, have become very complacent. They have become accomplices in their own oppression. Otherwise, we should not be having the conversation we are having now about leadership in 2019, especially when it is clear that we have citizens who are capable, who have capacity, who have capability to take Nigeria to prosperity. In 2019, nobody should be talking about one-legged leader in Dubai or a half-dying man in Abuja, who most of the time doesn't even know where he is. Because from what I know, apart from being physically sick, President Buhari has dementia. He cannot remember a lot of things. They say you go to him now, you have a conversation, you go back another 2 minutes, he doesn't even remember who you are.
Yeah, dementia.
It's dementia.
From 65.
And there's nothing wrong with it. It has to do with age.
Yes.
If you are old, you are old. There's a reason why they ask people to retire after 60 or 65 years. So, and you look at it, every country that is doing well around the world today has had something to do with fresh ideas and youthfulness. Even the World Cup, the countries that won the last World Cup, they were countries with presidents that had youthful leaders. President of France and that of Croatia, that beautiful lady, right? We need to change the people in our driver's seats in Nigeria if we want to lead ourselves to the right destination in the world. For us to be able to compete in this 21st century, we need to have leaders who know what they are doing. So, thank you so much. Thank you. I understand. Take it back. So, thank you. We will, like I said, I want to make it interactive. I went this far and so long because I want to prove to you that I'm not tired after traveling for 3 days. Yes. Also, great news is that this is the first presidential candidate in the history of Nigeria to travel to Australia to campaign. I have searched everywhere and never found the record anywhere that any presidential candidate who is aspiring to rule or lead Nigeria has ever traveled as far as Australia. And I've been threatened that I might even go to New Zealand from here if I'm not careful. So, you're in safe hands before next year. After next year, the presidency of Nigeria, if we make the right decision, will come with warranty. 4 years warranty and an additional year of free services. Because after I finish my tenure, if I do the first 4 years, I'll be around to help anybody who becomes president of Nigeria to continue to give them direction on how best to rule Nigeria or how best to lead Nigerians to prosperity, peace, and progress. So on that note, I've been told you guys have a lot of questions, and I know you guys always come to events like this loaded with questions. And I'm also here with the best possible answers. I don't want to arrogantly claim that I have all the answers. In fact, the reason why I love this engagement is because some of the answers we don't have, we have been able to get them from these town hall meetings. Because a lot of Nigerians are out there. And this is what breaks my heart a lot, is how many Nigerians we have out there who are so skillful that they can run Nigeria remotely from wherever they are. And how many Nigerians who are so patriotic are willing to pack their bags and go to Nigeria to help, even for free, if we provide the objective conditions for Nigeria to be the nation that they can come back to and they can be proud of. But as I always say, it has to start even with the airport, right? Nigeria must have an airport that you can land into and feel free and safe. We have one of the worst airports in the world. I just came from Murtala Mohammed Airport the other day. Even common bulb to change the bulb. It's common lighting, It's always heartbreaking. You don't even want to go to the toilet when you are leaving or arriving. A country that cannot maintain 4 toilets at the airport probably cannot maintain anything. That's the kind of leadership we have. So thank you so much, and I'll take your questions. Who is moderating the Q&A?
There's no more one mic, that's a problem.
All right, no problem.
If you have questions.
And I have to thank those of you who have just arrived to the meeting. Thanks for coming late. I came from Nigeria and I came earlier before you.
Please put your hands together for celebrating. This is the type of leadership they want. Someone who can assess you, who can relate with you, who can tell you the reasons why that happened. If someone enters power in 6 months, I can't tell you why you can't make best brains as prime ministers or ministers of power or anything, then you ask who is that person. You understand? This is someone who is ready to lead. And so if you have questions, I think my brother will be here to give you a number. I think 30 or 45 minutes will happen, because I know most people have contributions, some have questions, have things to say. So I don't know if you signify. And the exit.
So the plan is, let's raise up our hands. If you have questions, we're going to give you numbers. Then if you feel you don't want to say it out, we have writing materials there, we're going to give it to you. You can write it down, we're going to read it to him. So it's here for us. So feel free. ask that question, that contribution. I know some of us have those, you want to ask that question, please go ahead and ask. So let's raise up our hands and we'll just give us number and we'll take it off from there. Questions, please. 1. Number 2. Number 3. Don't forget that number, please. 4 and 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Oh.
It's 9.
Can we raise it? Let's raise up our hands again, please. Please. Can you raise it up, please? Please. Please. Okay, I will start again. I'm starting from 1. You, yourself. Yes. Number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13. 13. Okay, 14. Okay, once one boy is raised here, number 15, I'm going to recognize him. 15. So we're going to start with. Okay, that's good. So we have 15 people on ground now, so we're going to start with number 1. Then I need to also remind us that part of why we are here, if you have not done so, is to raise funds for our dear president to be. Let's put a hand of applause for him again. So, you know, my $10, my $20, my $30 will actually go a long way. Sowore does not have a godfather as far as I know up to now. He doesn't have where you go to and grab 30 billion and begin to distribute for people to come and vote or buy their PVC. So that is why he's coming to people like us. So your $10, your $20. So we have a plan on ground. The t-shirt for those of us that will grab one. Whatever we're going to, the funds that are coming in, we're sending everything back to him. That is one. Then the dinner, after this event, we are going back there. There's a restaurant. It's going to be buffet. It's $25. Then the part of another $25 is part of the fund we're going to raise. So if you have not done so, you can just see our dear brothers at the back. Please see them at the back. $50, $20. So whatever we contribute is going back to support this Take It Back project. Do we understand that, please? I need to tell us also that this event has been put together by just our wonderful brother and sister here. Let's put our hands together. We have not raised money from anywhere. Nobody has contributed. Oh, let's pay for the event, let's pay for the hall, let's pay for 2, 3 people just came together and said, oh, we have to do this. And I asked a question. I said, have you ever met this guy? I'm telling you, they met him for the very first time today. For the very first at the airport, I was there. So I was shocked. Can you put your hands together for this wonderful people? So because they've been able to do that, that is for John. Please rise up, let's see you. Please, let's put our hands together, let's appreciate them. And I remember I got a call from a friend this morning. He said, oh, for almost 3, 4, 5 months, I've been thinking, how can we get this man down here? How do we do it? And that is David there. David is here. He got to know today that Sowore is in town. He said, whatever it will take him, will be here. And I know some of us also got to know yesterday, 3 days ago. So we really appreciate you. And so we're going over to those questions now. So let's have number 1. Can we put our hands together to number 1? Tell us your name and go straight to that question. Put your hands together for... Yeah,
Even if you can say it in French, yes. Interpret.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Oluwadamilola Oshudu. Before, I would just want to clear something first before I ask my question. That would help me direct my question. I believe that the reason for this movement that became a political party is to take Nigeria back by force, by fire. Whether it's now or future, just to, we must take Nigeria back. Right? So my question goes, if in 2019 we lose this election, what will be the next step?
That's good. Thank you. That question. Thank you. So I forgot to tell us that because we have about 15 to 20, I'm very sure that question will still come up. So we're going to be taking 3 together. So number 2, can you come? Don't worry, Sowore has noted that. So number 2, please, your name and the question, please. So number 3 should get ready.
Yeah, good evening everybody. My name is Sowore, and my question comes in the way of a suggestion as well. You know, I used to tell people the 3 major things we lack in Nigeria is transparency, value for life, and unity. You know, and those 3 things, if you can just get them right, we are going to put Nigeria where it's supposed to be. Now, my question is, we've got lots of young aspirants, you know, coming out saying they want to, you know, get Nigeria to where it is. I'm actually going to bring my question from the 3rd part, which is unity, because I believe if everybody can come together as one, and as young as we are, we'll be able to take Nigeria back from these old people that has been there for God knows whatever. So what exactly are you doing? Because that's one of the strategies that you can use to win this election. You are in a war front that, look, I tell you, I was just looking at the Osun State election, and it's not easy. It's way more than we just coming together and saying, take it back. What strategy do you have in this 2019 election to win the election? Thank you.
Thank you. A round of applause for you, please. Question number 3.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Sowore, and I was on this, the first video that I saw on social media that actually drew my attention to what you have for us. Is a video where you were interviewing at the radio station talking to one of the ministers. I really respected the way you answered the questions, everything, the reply was so on point and everything. So I respect your vision for the country and the citizens and the masses. But my question is similar to what the other person asked in regards to the structure, because we know how defiant and how ruthless our politicians are, and we really want to know in regards to funding. I know that's the reason why we're here as well. In regards to funding, what are the structures? What are the structures that we have just to defeat the people? And in pertaining to the first person, we have to hope for the best and expect the worst. What if what we're planning doesn't work in 2019? What do we have to back it up so that we can push these people out of the political system? Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
To you, over to you.
Yes. Thank you so much. It's I would answer the first question about winning and losing by saying that quitters don't win and winners don't quit. I don't see how we can lose the 2019 election, considering the array of candidates that we are up against, our energy, our programs, and our integrity. We have everything it takes to win. We have every condition ripe for it. You see, in 2015, because some people have asked me this question a lot, why is it that we didn't come out in 2015? In 2015, there would have been confusion about the characters of the candidates out there. People would have felt like if we had tested Buhari, this would have. Now, we have tested everybody testable, using that's my own adjective, and discovered that they have nothing to offer. Now we have better alternatives. But in case, and this answers the first and the last question, in case that doesn't happen, I'll use myself as an example. When we started as student activists in 1992, we wanted the military to be kicked out of power. That led to an election in 1993. And we wanted a civilian to become the president, Abiola. He didn't become the president, but we didn't give up. And that was why the democracy returned to Nigeria in 1999, because we didn't give up. We are not going to give up because we don't know how to give up. In fact, I have said it, and I'll repeat it here, that what ultimately will solve Nigeria's problem is a revolution.
Yes.
And it is either they want it now to be done peacefully, or later to be done differently. And I'm not saying that it will not be peaceful. But the people of Nigeria are tired of this type of leadership. They are tired of the condition of poverty, impoverishment, and condition of helplessness and hopelessness that has become their lot. And I have not met a single Nigerian who is willing to continue their life this way. And I draw inspiration and energy from that, that based on what Nigerians are telling us and what we are hearing, having traveled to 30 out of 36 states in less than 6 months, I am confident that we will defeat the old guards next year. The issue of unity of younger candidates and strategy and structure. Let me be very clear here that I have explored, or we have explored working with other candidates. But honestly, we have ideological differences that we cannot pretend doesn't exist. We have histories that are different. We have pedigrees that are also not similar, with a lot of them. A lot of the younger candidates you are seeing are there for the sake of running for office. But in terms of program, in terms of agenda and ideas, in terms of courage, it has been known that we have shown very clearly that we are willing to confront the old system. We cannot go and liberate Nigeria without stepping on toes. We cannot take Nigeria from where it is now to the path of progress without offending people. And the people who have benefited largely from the rot that Nigeria has become over the last 58 years. A lot of the young candidates are not willing to do that. In fact, some of them are saying that we must respect the same oppressors who put us in the condition that we are in. I don't believe that. And I made it very clear that respect can only beget respect. Honor can only beget honor. And there's no honor amongst thieves. And we cannot continue to genuflect on the altars of fallen gods in Nigeria. So, the candidates that are willing to unite with us, they are also very clear. They have seen the sign that all the younger candidates, we are the only ones who can enter any community and people will follow us. The others are still doing social media, hopping and puffing. A lot of them are still, limiting themselves to certain sections of the country. We have been to the north, I've been to all the geopolitical zones in Nigeria. Northwest, northeast, north central, south, southeast, and the southwestern part of Nigeria. And we have general acceptance. As I say, and I will say to you again, a time will come in the next few weeks, if not days, that boys will be separated from men, and men will be separated from two old men. Yes. So, that will make it clear to you as to who among the young people are also progressive. Because the ones that are progressive already see the signs or the handwriting clearly on the wall now. That we are the ultimate when in terms of a strong candidacy that can win the election. Not those who become pushovers or people who can be run out of town even during the election. There is nothing, I'm telling you, there's nothing that hasn't happened to me in the last 6 months, as you guys know. I've been arrested for campaigning in front of ShopRite. I've been tear gassed in the palace of a traditional ruler. I've been harassed by the police. I've been called all kinds of names. In fact, a lot of people said that our campaign will not last 2 weeks. And here we are. 8 months later, we're in Australia. Of all places, Australia. And we are not going for a kangaroo election. It's got to be real. So we will unite. It will be not a unity of candidates. It will be a unity of purpose in the election. Thank you so much. Now I'll take next 3 questions. Hopefully I answered your question.
Thank you. Yeah, if you feel the questions were not properly answered, just note it down. We'll come back to that. And because of our time, you feel your question has been asked and answered, don't just wave to me and we'll take your number out. Is that okay? So please, let's have number 4, 5, and 6. Number 4.
Thank you. Everybody take it back.
Action!
Take it back.
Action!
My name is Adetunji. I will want to start my question this way. Just before coming here, I was a lecturer at the Federal University of Technology in Akure. And somehow this morning I was discussing with a colleague at KUT, and I was trying to advertise the fact that you're coming and I would love you to come around. So we were discussing, and we were looking into the fact that you mentioned the minimum wage you're going to put jack up to 100,000, and youth corporates can get 50,000 per month. And then we were actually looking into the direction of whether your government, because we know that you're coming into power, we were looking at whether your government will, as possibly as you've seen around in developed nations of the world, developed countries, tie productivity to income or to wages. This is what I mean. I have a number of senior lecturers, associate profs and professors who does not really have, once they get to that peak, you hardly have anything they are doing in the university. They collect the money, and aside from that, an average person who is collecting 100,000, for instance, might have a whole number of, several hours that are moribund, not really, doing anything. We're looking at a situation where if minimum wage is that high, some people can possibly work for maybe 4 or 5 hours and then could still get engaged in some other places to work, while some other, millions of Nigerians who does not have a job can come up again for a few hours. So that I understand that your idea is Nigerians are living on some very, very unimaginable wage. Okay, so from 18,000 to 100,000, but we're also looking at the fact that if it's possible that your government will seriously tie productivity from every office, every affair, even down to the senators and all of that, because the other time they were away for several months and then they're still collecting their salary and all that. So that's my question. Thank you.
Thank you. Question number 5.
My name is Inka Farin. I really don't have a question, but I've been following you for a while, and you've been speaking my mind, which really makes a lot of difference to me. I just want to encourage you to keep doing the good work, and we will try our best to keep on supporting you as much as we can. And most of the questions I would really want to ask, I've heard you answering them online, which is very good. Just be strong and keep on the good work, and one day would definitely want to see Nigeria get better. Thank you.
Round of applause, please. Thank you. Question number 6.
Welcome, Mr. Sowore. Good evening, all. My name is Zupong. Yeah, and I want to say something. First of all, I want to really encourage you and to thank you for your courage for taking this up. Why most of us are here is because we've always hoped for someone to do this. So you're doing the right thing. In saying that, there is something very important I would like you to take note of. And that's, I work in the government here. And one of the things I have found out is the fact that what we most times feel is a problem from outside, most times is not really the problem. That's the number one point. The second one is that, you see, in Nigeria, we've always thought, or I always thought, a lot of people think that the problem in Nigeria is corruption. Yes, corruption is a big problem, I agree. But there's an angle to the problem that has not really been considered. And it's part of the reason why the present government has not succeeded, and some other governments have not succeeded. Now, what is that problem? Competence. Now, there are two angles to the problem. One is corruption. The other aspect is people not occupying positions that they are not fit for. And because of that, they are not able to deliver, even if they wanted to deliver. So I would like you to take that on board. I know this is election time, so during election time, the concern is always with winning. But my advice to you would be, when you constitute, I believe you win, when you constitute office, really think about competence in terms of delivery of the things that you have in mind. It's very important. The last one would be international collaboration. I think one aspect that we have missed, Nigeria has missed as a country, is always thinking that we can solve our problems in isolation. No nation of the world in this present age can develop in isolation. We need to collaborate. And people have this notion that the Western countries are our problem, America is against us, this country is against. That is not true. The truth is, if we collaborate properly, going in there with negotiating on the basis of a fair deal, we can actually get a fair deal from international collaborations. So these are my very 3 points. Number one is that the problem from outside, most times when you get in, it's not always really the problem when you get in. The second one is that competence is a big part of the problem, which is not often being considered. And the third one is that international collaboration is very important, and we cannot develop in isolation. Thank you.
Thank you. I think we have 4, 5, 6 now. Yeah.
Thank you. We're number 6. Adetunji asked about minimum wage and productivity. I completely agree with you, and that is exactly what we set to do. Yeah, if you have watched some of our town hall meetings, you have heard me say that I intend to encourage any Nigerian federal worker who has spent 25 years upwards to buy out of the system. What is buying out? If you have spent 25 years and you want to take early retirement, I'll pay you what you would have been paid as if you retired. So that fresh hands and fresh ideas can come into it. A lot of people who are our civil servants don't know what they are doing in office anymore. A lot of people who are our lecturers are no longer teaching what the rest of the world is teaching today. A friend of mine did chemical engineering in Nigeria, got a first class, went to teach in a community college in the US. The students were the ones teaching him the first day of class because he came with IUPAC. You remember what is IUPAC? That's what the lecturer taught him. He didn't know that the world had moved about 4 different levels away from that. And that's all he knew. So it's important that we start replacing all the old hands, all the obsolete people and ideas, but we cannot do it by forcing them out. We have to incentivize their exit so that they can have dignified exit from the system. And with regards to productivity as well, we need to turn Nigeria into a 24-hour economy. So what I find out in the US that's interesting when I got there was that there are 3 shifts every day that you can work. So you can work from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m., from 2 p.m. to about 8, yes. And then another the reason why we are proposing 100,000 is that minimum wage must meet living wage if you really want productivity. There is nobody, and I've said it, even a student, a high school student who can live on 18,000 naira per month. 18,000 naira in a year is not up to $600. Somebody just told me here in 2 weeks, people who are unemployed get paid $600 in 2 weeks in Australia. That is the minimum wage, annual wage of a worker that wakes up in Nigeria to go to work from 8 o'clock to 4 p.m. every day, right? That is where their transportation is supposed to come from, feeding, healthcare. That is where they are supposed to educate their children. It's impossible. And then you then wonder why the civil service is not responsive and responsible. You cannot give somebody to build on a foundation that don't exist and you expect results to come from it. So the proposal is for a $300 minimum wage per month. At the end of the year, 300 times 12 is still nothing, but it's a starting point. And you look at it, people have said, well, maybe it's too much. It's not too much if you compare to what these useless senators or House of Rep or even our politicians are taking home. Nigerian senators take home in a month, in a year, that is the salary of 2,076 workers. One senator takes home, and we are complaining about paying our workers what they deserve. So it must be tied to productivity, and we must also measure that productivity. One of the problems also with Nigeria is that a lot of people just take government work as no work. They don't arrive to work on time. When they arrive, some people bring yam to work to sell. Some people bring clothes to work to sell. It's a marketplace for not ideas or productivity, but for, it's like a supermarket. If you walk into a government office, things that need to happen immediately is that we have to automate government as well. Anybody coming to work, you must have their fingerprint at the gate so that we can trace when they left. And you can have performance, you can have KPIs done from time to time to see what is it that an average Nigerian worker does, federal worker, to justify their earning. The moment you start having that, people who cannot cope within the system will leave, and those who want to work will come in, and our system will start working. Well, the second question, Yinka, is just an encouragement. Thank you so much for that. And the third one from Ubang is that the problem from inside, that we think is inside sometimes is from, it's not a problem. The thing we see outside. I've seen that happen a lot. In fact, most of the problems in Nigeria is the Nigerian government itself that is creating most of the problem. And so many of the problems you see in Nigeria are deliberately created by government officials or people who are elected into office so that Nigeria will be seen as a place that cannot work. So, but we discover that when even someone tries to do a little bit, everybody will start clapping and wondering why it is possible. In Lagos, I was traveling around Lagos recently, and I've seen a lot of flyovers. In places where there could have been traffic, I went to Ajah, there's a flyover there. But instead of the 10 that they did, or maybe 4 or 5 that they did, for exorbitant rate, we could have had 40 done about the same time. But because Lagos is owned by an individual who is always collecting and collecting, the money is not available for public service. So the governor is collecting for himself, the Jagaban of Lagos is collecting for himself, someone somewhere is collecting. Everything that needs to go to public help or assistance is rendered to individuals. So greed is what is killing Nigeria, and greed is corruption. So when people tell you corruption in Nigeria public service or public life, they are not referring to bribery alone. They are referring to a mindset that holds up any form of development, because in most cases of wickedness. That's what you're saying. And you mentioned the issue of competence. Why are we here? We have been discussing competence for 58 years. That our leaders are a bunch of incompetent people. A lot of Nigerian leaders are not competent enough to even run McDonald's, say, as managers. I'm telling you, because the McDonald's manager must manage their staff, make sure that there's delivery of food. That rack where there's the Mini Mac or Big Mac, that place, the moment it becomes empty, you will know that the manager will be fired that same day. But Nigerian leaders, the worse their performance, the better their pay. So competence is something definitely that we need, and it's the only way we can deliver on the kind of progress that we have been asking for. International collaboration, I cannot even dispute that with you. What is also sad is that a lot of international collaborators are out there to help us, but we don't want to help ourselves. So most of the time they go and come back. Australia, for example, is a country that I'm aware has been trying to help Nigeria in a lot of ways, right? Not necessarily to supply weapons, but when Nigerian leaders come to Australia or they come to Auckland, and they discover how much they spend in hotels alone, and how they have taxis and luxurious cars parked in front of their hotel that they don't use. Or when most of the people they send to conferences don't attend the conferences, but they are inside the computer stores and shutting down stores and buying things. Who wants to help you when you are not willing to help yourself? That's the thing. So, who is international collaboration that you need? They can see how much you are wasting the money that is meant for development in your country. They will not take their own resources that is meant for their own people to go and help you. Are they stupid? They won't. And they can see these things transparently because you are shopping in their own stores. You are using their own international banking sectors to launder funds. So how are they going to help you when they know that each time they give you $50 million, that money is going to somehow find their way back into their banks? Because they can see it, they own the banks, they can see transparently how you are stealing the monies meant for your people. And collaboration begets collaboration. When they see that on your end, you are not willing to collaborate, that is not to say, and this is important, that so many of the Western interests don't have their own agenda. They do. I live in America for 19 years. America has its own agenda. America will ruin your economy if they want something from you and you don't give it to them. But also, America will respect countries that have leaders who are serving their people, as long as these leaders they have the confidence of their people. That is why India is a special interest. The Prime Minister of India was somebody who was on America's blacklist. He couldn't get a visa to America until he became Prime Minister. But the moment he became Prime Minister and America saw that India had a new leader, a new sheriff in town, they went and begged him with a visa. Of course, now he's entitled because of diplomatic immunity to get visa. And look at what the man has done for India now. So we get competent leaders, they will respect you. But when you don't have competent leaders, they will ride roughshod on you. Every country in the world will ride roughshod on Nigeria. Even Ghana, as we speak now, is taking Nigeria for granted. They are beating up Nigerians, burning their shops, jailing Nigerians because they know that Nigeria that the country of Nigeria don't have competent leaders who can call. I mean, I can imagine me being president of Nigeria and Ghana is misbehaving. I'll just call their president to come see me. Behave, Oga. Otherwise, we are your senior brother here. It's the truth. It might sound funny to you. I went to South Africa and I was on the radio show, on the TV show in South Africa, and I told them that you can't continue to treat Nigerians, like rubbish in your country because we are your big brother. The next moment they banned me from being on the South African Broadcasting Corporation TV because they know that the moment Nigeria is making a point about their place on the continent of Africa, the whole world must stop and listen. But they are happy that Nigeria is not doing well because, as we say in our own culture, that when the cat is absent, any rat can misbehave. That's the truth. So we can take the next 3 questions.
Take it back. Take it back. Yes, I'm so excited to inform us that apart from about 50 of us that are here, over 500 people are watching us live. And take it back. So and we are having questions here. So and I've been informed by 8 o'clock we need to go for dinner there. So please let's ask those questions. And sir, my president, please you have to make it very brief. Question number 10, please. Oh, sorry, can you see? I want to leave here. 7, please. Can you see? I want to leave here. 7, 8. And 9, please get ready. Number 7.
Hello, Mr. Sowore. Welcome to Australia. My name is Eddie Osazwa, and I would say I'm a big fan of you. Since I had this great belief in you, I've been talking to lots of people back in Nigeria on the reason why they have to also follow and vote for you. I strongly believe that you're going to be our president come 2019. I'm so confident about that. Vote for you, that their vote will be counted. I think that's one of the major challenges that people are having. They would say, instead of me voting for Sowore, why don't I just vote for Atiku? Because Sowore's vote is not going to count. But I would tell them, no, you don't have to think like that. Just give your vote and just try to protect it. But since you're here, you're the one, piloting all of us. I want you to tell us, how you're going to do that. Yeah, I think that is the major question. Thank you.
Number 8. Yeah, somebody said something here that women, they don't have women in Australia. So, thank God, somebody's calling. I just read it now. Now, where are the women?
My name is Folake. Thank you for what you are doing. I have 2 questions.
Yes.
The first one is about when you were interviewed on a channel in Nigeria and you talked about legalizing cannabis.
Yes.
And last week we were having a discussion with some friends here, and then they were antagonizing us that why would it legalize cannabis in a country like Nigeria? Probably is even a smoker himself. And even though I don't know what your mind is, but the question is, how do you control abuse in a country where we don't have a database of individuals? Then the second question is, when you win as the president of Nigeria, I do know there are some governorship aspirants that are coming under the party. What happens in states where the party doesn't win the governorship seats? How do you make your policies to count in such states so that we don't have a divided country? Thank you.
Wow.
Nice one. Thank you. One of the questions that Sister Hacks has been asked online too about cannabis.
Yeah.
So please.
Take it back.
Action!
Take it back.
Action!
So, September, I actually tried to be a member of the AAC, the party. I took and I registered for the to be a member. And I noticed that they sent me an email. The email is here. I can show it to you so that I know you don't know about this problem. I noticed they sent me the email, gave me a party ID, which I got, but I couldn't pay. Now, the currency are in Naira, I think Ghana, British, and US. So there was no avenue for me to pay for my registration. This is since September.
Yeah.
That's to tell you how I've been following you up.
Yeah.
That is just to make you know about that. Secondly, I studied criminology and criminal justice in Griffith University. And part of the problem I understand they have in Australia is the prisoners not to come back to the society and going back. Now, what are the modalities that should be in place that will make them not to go back to crime? These were the things we were tackling while we were in the department and doing a lot of research about it. So I want to ask my question in this line, to ask you directly, that when you win, not just when you win, but I know you are going to win, how do you want to address the criminal justice system in Nigeria that curbs, before I go further, I read the news, I think from cable in Nigerian newspaper. And I noticed that they say Buhari has just reuniting the Boko Haram victims back to their family. And I asked myself, I said, if I stand from my professional standpoint, I am not saying the individual, the Boko Haram members are bad people. They've been psychologically psyched. Are you getting it? Now my question is, such people should go through the mental health, system where they can be reassessed. This goes down to the prisons as well. The prisoners we're bringing out, are they just coming out straight into the society? Number one, they've been out of the society for long. They don't know what is at stake in the society. Releasing these people will affect all our infrastructures we have. We might have good infrastructures, good roads, good university, good everything good. But with these same people with these orientations coming out of prison back to the society, how do they fit in if we don't have such modalities in place? These are things I really want to know, to see how we can be able to curb that aspect, because I'm one of the people that I used to tell my friends, I said, if Sowore become the president, I'm telling you, I'm going back to help the criminal justice system in Nigeria. I'm not saying it because I'm blabbing here, no, but I will go back because this is the area I studied. I came here to study. I want to go back to work in that field and give my impact as well. So these are my questions. Thank you.
So you give us your name.
I'm David Adu. Okay. Yeah, I'm from Delta State. Sorry.
Thank you, David. And this is the man that heard about the whole story today, and he told me he has been a party member far. I said I just got to know about the event 2 weeks ago. Say he has been following, but how come Sowore is he's coming to Brisbane that he's not aware that he's going to cancel all his appointment? I'm happy he's here and he's here with his wife. Take it back. Please, some of us are leaving the venue, and I want to remind us again, maybe some of us are going to take a job, you are going to work, we understand all that. We understand that. Please, and please, we want to remind us about this fundraising aspect. You know, some of us, we can't go down to vote. And you know, if you have to buy your ticket, you know how much it will take. What we are saying is, if it is your $50, your $20, your $100, as you are going out, even if you don't want to have the dinner, please see those brothers at the back. You can use your card. Don't worry if you don't have cash. Please, whatever you're going to do, don't forget that at the end of the day here, people end up their life in where? The old homes, or what do you call it? And take care and whatever. And some of us, we don't want to end, we want to go back to Nigeria, right? So what are we going to be? What are we saying? What are we talking about? What are we doing about Nigeria that we want to go back to later? Somebody like me want to go. I really want to go back, and I know some of you want to go back. And we can't go now and vote. So your $50, your $100 can actually do something. Please, as you are going out, just swipe that card. God bless you in Jesus' name. Amen. Take it back. Question number 9. I've done 9, 10, please. Is that 10? 10. Okay. Yeah, let's take one more. Okay, so we have to go 10.
Good evening, everybody. Yeah, I'll be so quick because of our time. So I've been following you, I think since I was in 200 level in Unite. And I started following you when you stood against one minister in the US. You remember? Yeah, 2012. Yeah, I think I was 200 level. And that's when I'm like, no, this is a future leader. So I thank God that you are here. My question is this. I mean, people actually asked most of my questions, but my question is this. I want to add this. Is there a way we can start a movement now? So in after 2019 election, people like us, people outside in Nigeria, we can vote. The reason why they would not want us to vote is because they can't bribe us. They can't bribe people like me. I was telling people, if any politician comes to Australia and they want to bribe me, I will sit them down, let's start negotiating from 100 million. Can you pay me 100 million? If you can pay me, at least I know, okay. But they can't give us gari, they can't give us clothes. So if I know you have a voice and they respect you and your voice is actually hitting them so hard. So if we can start that movement from now, we have millions of Nigeria outside there. You understand? So if we can start that, so I don't really know your points to people in diaspora so that we can vote. And this second question is this. You know, most of us, we can't go home now. But I think there is one issue. You know, in Australia, if something happens to Australian in US, anywhere in the country, I will watch the news and I'm like, oh my God, if anything happens to me in Australia, do my country even aware I'm in Australia? If there's earthquake in Australia today, do my government even know there is a dollar in Brisbane? Do they even know we are here? No. This is Nigeria is the only country. They don't even. I don't even know the ambassador to Australia. I don't even know if it's female. Maybe he exists. I don't even know. So if by God's grace, you eventually become the president of Nigeria in 2019 by God's grace. These are the aspects I really want you to look into, because there are a lot of Nigerians suffering outside there, most especially like Asia. They are really, some of them are in prison because they don't have anybody to like fight for them. The government doesn't even care. They are just there, they are rotting in jail. please, I want you to really take notice of that. And the last one is just a brief discussion. You know, somebody asked a question about the competency, and I said, if what we have in Australia, if Nigeria can give us 50% of the opportunity, I can tell you here, without missing a word, 75% of all of us will go back home. I'm telling you, if we can have the electricity, good roads, no police harassment, security, everything, more than half of us will go back home. So in terms of competency, I mean, we have good doctors, we have good engineers here. All we just want as a Nigeria is just a platform. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. So we're going to have one more. I have a child here. Michael, number what? Don't worry. We want you, after this, you are number 15. So let's just take a child. Michael has a question too, and it's been on me. So you hand it to you, then we'll go on.
Hello, I am Michael Alamola. I just wanted to ask, when you become president of Nigeria, what will you do for all of those children that are suffering?
Yes. Thank you so much, Michael. Please give Michael a round of applause one more time. He's been our star for today. He's accompanied us from the airport, and a lot of people really loved him when we were live streaming on our way to the hotel earlier today. Let me start with Eddie Sazwa. You asked about how votes count, and I will say very directly to you that it is the people that determine whether their votes count or not. And I've seen it happen. It even happened in 2015. The party that won the election in 2015 was a party that didn't have the army, didn't have all the money, they didn't have the treasury. But Nigerians at that point, mistakenly invested their hope in this party, this fraudulent party, and their candidates. And they stood by their votes. The votes counted because we also, as citizens everywhere, were counting and releasing the election results. I remember that for the first time in the history of Nigeria, Sahara reporters brought out the election results before INEC could release the results. On that same day, we had 10 states. And by the second day, we were able to confidently state that the winner was going to be the person who eventually won the... And you saw how the ruling party then reacted with Rubebe, who went and sat on the floor and was screaming his lungs out. So it's up to us, but we have other strategies that are in place that we cannot expose right now, because if we do, as you know, they will steal the ideas and go ahead of us. We are ahead of them, but I have to say that solidly, people should stand their ground after voting and ensure that their votes count, and they can make it happen anytime they want. That's my statement on that one. Folake asked me about legalization of marijuana. This is my most interesting topic, as you know. I have to clarify that I do not smoke. I've never tasted or puffed marijuana before. I don't know how it makes people feel. The people ask me that if I do it, if I'm high. When I said some of this, I said I'm high on ideas, not THC. But here is the truth. Nigeria destroys over 1.5 trillion naira worth of marijuana every year. You can find marijuana anywhere you want in Nigeria, including from police or even the NDLA. You can go to their office and buy marijuana. There's no restriction on that. But the rest of the world is moving on because of the value of that plant. In fact, marijuana is right now the new oil, almost, in my view. It has a lot of uses. In Nigeria, there's what they call cannabis oil. And to buy just a liter is 26,000 naira, just a liter of it. And it's all over the place. But people who are using them use them for different reasons. They have medicinal values in particular. Marijuana is one plant, what is referred to as the hemp. Marijuana is just, the seed, or just a part of the hemp itself as a plant. It's a plant that has a lot of uses, including the fact that you can use it to make clothes. Clothing. You know, it's stronger than cotton. It's used in making rope. Marijuana, or cannabis as you know it, actually has the ability to help cure seizures. You know, it can help you cure. It helps to reduce the pain of people who are undergoing cancer treatments. It helps in a lot of ways. In fact, Nigeria, a lot of countries recently legalized marijuana. Canada legalized marijuana, and the second day after they legalized marijuana, they were in need of 70%, they were 70% short of supplies. So the Nigerian budget, the Nigerian national budget is 8 trillion. Marijuana, 1.5 trillion naira worth of marijuana is destroyed. I did not propose that people should be smoking marijuana in Nigeria, which they are already doing. In fact, you can get marijuana paraphernalia in ShopRite, the wrappers and the crushers, and it's all over the place. I'm saying that instead of destroying this plant, we should export it to get foreign revenues, foreign earnings for our country. If Canada, for example, is in need of 70% of their need, and we are shipping marijuana to them, our own, by the way, is the best. They call it cannabis sativa. It's the most potent. The one that is grown in Edo State. It's not a fun. They grow them in Edo State. They grow them in a place called Obese in Edo State. Ekiti people grow it. It's grown. Whether we like it or not, they are growing it because there's a huge forest between these 4 states. And marijuana is such a powerful plant that if you grow it, you don't need to go near it again. It kills all the weeds around it. It finds water by itself. It's unbelievably an interesting plant. So my proposal is for us to have a legal framework to export to the rest of the world. And South Africa just legalized marijuana. Canada did. The city in the US that first legalized marijuana, I think in the state, Colorado, is making $1 billion every year for the sale of marijuana. So I'm saying that before we lose the game, let's get into the game now when the rest of the world is doing it. Because I suspect, and I know this will happen, very soon they will criminalize our own marijuana. America will say that Nigerian marijuana is harmful because they always do that to us. Do you believe that in Nigeria during the colonial era, Nigerians used to have a fermented drink called ogogoro? It's fermented from palm wine. The same way they ferment their own from other plants. The British came with what they call London dry gin. Discovered that the London dry gin is not as potent as ogogoro. They now criminalize ogogoro. They call it illicit gin. Till today, it is unlawful to be in possession of ogogoro in Nigeria. Most people don't know. It's in our law books. It's a criminal offense to drink ogogoro. Meanwhile, our ogogoro is better than the imported dry gins all over the world. It's better than vodka. It's better, but we don't respect what we have. We prefer what is imported to us. And very soon, this same marijuana that we are complaining about will be imported to Nigeria. Nigeria will be forced to buy it from outside, whereas we have it in abundance at home to do not damage to ourselves, but to do well, because it cures a lot of things. Epilepsy is well known in Nigeria as a major problem. It's said to have no cure. Marijuana cures epilepsy. Can you believe that? Warapa. But there are several other things that it can do for us. The part of marijuana that people complain about is called THC, the one that makes people high. You can actually grow marijuana that has no THC. So that it can do the other purpose for which I'm talking about. So that's the education that our people need to understand what I'm saying. But you know, in a highly religious society, you just say, cannabis, that guy wants to be selling a bowl. You know, they don't understand that already a lot of medicine that is in our Nigerian market imported has this in there, you know. And so when I tell people that it's just a matter of, the problem is not that they don't understand, but most people don't understand because of ignorance. And that's why we must banish ignorance from our country. So having spent so much time talking about marijuana and convincing you that I'm not high and I don't smoke, I want to answer the issue of policies Folake asked about, that if you are not in charge of a country or a state, with your policy, of course, the Nigerian federal government can implement policies across all the states of the federation, whether they're in charge of the governor there or not. The governors rely on the federal government to get allocations, to even do their own policies. So what I'm saying is that the federal government of Nigeria, there's a lot of things you can do that can make life easy for anybody in Nigeria or everybody in Nigeria. For example, in our proposal for infrastructure, we have this interstate highway system that we want to introduce, which is to say that if you are going to any Nigerian state, every Nigerian state must be linked with the highway that is dual carriageway. It will mean that right now we have over 202,000 kilometers of highway. We will double it in less than 4 years. And that will affect every state of the federation, whether the governor is a member of your party or not. So it's up to the states to make sure that their governors act in their own interest. What we have even seen politically is that every governor that is APC is acting against the people in the country. You know, the president is APC. There are governors who are against the president, who is also a member of their party. Members of the Senate who are APC are revolting against the president. So political parties in Nigeria don't have any ideological leaning that would mean that if somebody is a member of a party, he will act in the interest of even the constitution or the manifesto of the party. But in our own case, we are going to help the Nigerian people, and that is what we are going to do, whether the governor is from our party or not. September, yes, my brother here, Ado, asked, he said you are trying to register. When we registered, the party didn't have the integration of the payment system. If you go back now, you can still pay. I think it's been rectified. If not, I will ask, is there a way to start a movement for diaspora voting? The biggest, you don't even need a movement. Just vote for Sowore. I will bring diaspora voting the second day after I'm elected. I love diaspora voting because it will be a sure way to counteract those vote buying at home. At the moment they see diaspora voting, you see they will now have to be forced to also be campaigning in diaspora. People will be forced to ask them questions that they don't get to answer. You can imagine since Atiku became a presidential candidate of the PDP, he has not addressed a single town hall meeting. He just packed his things, went to Dubai, and people are visiting him. Nobody's asking him, what are you going to do differently? The only person who said he met him and asked him questions, he said he couldn't answer, Wole Soyinka. He went and met Soyinka secretly. Soyinka asked him, what is it that you have in the last 58 years that you cannot implement? He said, we'll do this, we'll do this. I want specifics. The man couldn't answer the question. And they left the meeting without being able to even take a photo with Soyinka. So, you know what it is? Michael, you asked about white children, how we can end the suffering of children. We can end the suffering of our children by providing them what we have in what we call Spicer Heat. Specifically, Nigerian children need health right from when they are conceived to the time they are born. Most Nigerian mothers don't have access to hospitals where they can do what we call prenatal care when the baby is still in the womb, have antenatal care after the baby is born, and for the mother. So a lot of Nigerian kids don't even get delivered by their mothers because the mothers die during childbirth. When those mothers that are delivered don't get to live to be 5 years old because they don't get immunized by the Nigerian government because our hospitals are always short of drugs. And most importantly, what the children need after they grow up, they need education. Our schools are in bad shape. 13 million kids are out of school in Nigeria. Michael, what did we do on our way to this place when we were coming with you when Daddy said you can't go to school? Daddy was panicking. He had to call your school to let them know you can't come to school. In Nigeria, nobody's going to call parents that their children are not coming to school. They don't care. There are 30 million kids who are hawking water on the street, running after vehicles. In Nigeria, what are we going to do? We are going to spend an average of 100,000 naira to return the kids to school. 100,000 per child is what we are going to start with. and that will take them back to school. It's not going to be given to the child, it's going to be used to hire teachers to develop the schools, so that we can also criminalize not sending children to school. So that the teachers and the administrators of the schools can also call parents, why have you not sent your children to school? I live in the US, if my child don't show up in school in one day, police will come to my house. Where's your daughter, where's your son, why didn't they show up in school? You have to explain. If you don't have any solid explanation, you are going to face prosecution for keeping your children out of school. And after the kids grow up and they go to school, Michael, what do they need? They need jobs. We want to provide 5 million jobs for people who are graduating out of college, so that they can live great lives too, and can have their own kids, can go on vacation, and they can do things that you take for granted here. And our children need power, electricity, right? They call it light in Nigeria, so that they can do homework at night. Right now, a lot of kids go to bed without being able. I grew up doing homework with not lantern. You guys had lantern. You are rich. We have one that has a wick, and you dip it in the kerosene and it pops out of somewhere, and you light it up, and it's going directly, the flames, and it's going directly into your nose. So when you wake up the next day, the job of your mom is first of all to clean the chimney in your nose and remove all the charcoal in it before you can go to school. That is how I grew up. You guys take that for granted over here, and our kids need that. So I've been told that we will continue answering the question during dinner. So I'm so sorry for those of you who have questions that we can't get to them.
Thank you.
No, thank you, Michael. Thank you so much. We'll continue, and for those of you who didn't get your questions answered here, we will answer them as we are here. Even in Australia, we have another event at the school tomorrow at the college here, University QT. You can come to QT. You can also ask us questions on the internet, by the way. People ask, we do live streaming all the time. You can ask your questions, or you can write me the questions so that when I'm on the next broadcast, I can answer your questions. Thank you so much for coming, Brisbane. I really, really love this. And we're proud of you. We're proud of you. We'll make Brisbane one of our sister cities where we go back to, when we get sworn in Nigeria next year, so that we can replicate what we found here in a Nigerian city. That's one of the things I want to do, is to have cities, because a lot of cities, and this is very important, who are also, apart from governments, who are willing to assist sister cities in terms of technological know-how, provide infrastructure. There are cities who want to give hospital equipment from their cities to a similar city in Nigeria. But Nigerian leaders, they get the hospital equipment, they divert it to create their own personal hospitals. And that's the end of the story. That's where the international collaboration thing that I was talking about fails all the time. Thank you so much, Brisbane. Have a good night as we go to dinner. Those of you who are not going to come to dinner, buy me dinner. I'll take all the food. Thank you.
Thank you. So please, for those of us that have this, if you don't have, please meet those brothers, two of them at the gate there, and let's go over. We'll continue with the questions. I know some of us will still want to have a chat with Sowore. He's here after dinner, so please let's move the dinner. The restaurant is at the other side there. If you don't have this, please see them at the entrance there. See them at the entrance. You want to take photo, you want to take everything, it's going to be after the dinner. After the dinner, please.
We already become a president. So it's not going to be easy to see the president. This is the first presidential candidate, and whoever comes
photo, everything after. Let's go to the restaurant, please.
You can bend it, you can yeah, just
my president is going to be after dinner.
Let me take the one I want to take.
Our food. Line up, all of us line up.
Let's go and take. He has time.
Let's go for the dinner. I will take this.
Thank you.
Please, can we just come for a group photograph, please? Sorry. Let's just take group before we go for dinner, because some people will not be there at dinner. So once you go, say sorry, please. Sorry, can we just... Where's the paragrapher, the photographer?
We are doing selfie, wait.
From there, we can for dinner, please. Where is the photographer? Let's just take a group photograph. I don't want to President Sowore, please. Tell people back home, please, and you can support. You have more than $50, $100. Most of us just send more than that.
Can you imagine? I'm not even in the
freedom to someone back home. So please, I beg of you, supporting, take photograph. Please, can we take a group photograph, please? Let's quickly. Okay, then we can leave for dinner now. We can leave for the dinner, please. Our time starts here 8 o'clock. Very soon now, they'll stop dinner. You know why? By 9 they will say dinner is over. And the food I paid for that is over. Please, thank you very much. Okay. My president and I, Sowore. We're all living down for the dinner, please, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go take it back to dinner.
Dinner is ready, you don't want to buy it. Why are you like this?
Because we are being paid for the time, it's paid for dinner time, and we know how it's a policy.
There will be a lot time after dinner, please. Take it back.
Thank you very much for coming. Please see you at the dinner, please. Please.